Today we're speaking about can an Aguna. You see the paper in front of you. This is from today's, June 6th. From June 6th, that was last month, right, Elisheva?
Right.
Aguna freed from marriage by private rabbinical court after 23 years.
Right.
Now, normally a husband has to free a wife by a get. Only two ways a married woman can be free. Either the husband drops dead or he gives her a get. But how could the Aguna be freed when the husband refuses to give her a get, and yet this Bezdin freed this woman after 23 years? Is it kosher or not? So if you take a look at the article by Jeremy Sharon, in a groundbreaking development for divorce rights in Israel, this lady, Tzvia Gorodetsky, who sought a divorce from her husband for 23 years, has been freed from a marriage by a private Orthodox rabbinical court headed by respected Orthodox Rabbi, Talmudist Rabbi Daniel Sprecher, not Sprecher, Sperber. The next paragraph, the ruling could pave the way for more such women to avail themselves of private rabbinical courts. Okay, now let's skip a little bit. The paragraph, the chief rabbinate. You see that? The chief rabbinate is certain to reject the validity of this divorce, but Gorodetsky could likely remarry in a private Orthodox ceremony if she so wished. The paragraph begins, Gorodetsky, 54. See that, Elisheva? You have Gorodetsky, 54, was married to her husband for 9 years, and she had 4 children with him before requesting a divorce in 1995 due to his violent and abusive behavior towards her, which included beating her while she was pregnant so that she miscarried and throwing acid on her. Not a nice guy. He refused to grant a bill of a get even after being ordered by the state rabbinical court to do so. This led the court to eventually jail him, as Banish said, and he has been sitting in prison for the last 18 years, unmoved in his determination never to grant his wife a get. So he's sitting in jail 18 years, and he doesn't want to give her a get. The court, however, said, that there was nothing more they could do to obtain the divorce, arguing that Jewish law prohibits the annulment of a marriage by outside parties, even in extreme circumstances. So how was this lady able to get a annulment of her marriage? Gorodetsky finally decided that she would never be free of that marriage without a new perspective from a different rabbinical court. So she got the Center for Jewish Women's Justice, a women's group, to convene the private rabbinical court headed by Rabbi Sperber, is a great tzaddik and a big Talmud Chacham. Now, it's underlined in yellow. This is Kedai to look in. Sperber and 2 other Orthodox rabbis, you have it, Shirley? It's underlined in yellow, who have declined to be named, argue that there is a concept in Jewish law, you have it there, Riel, that the marital life which ensued following the marriage was objectively unlivable and not normal, and that no one would have agreed to such a marriage had they known that the guy is a lunatic. Right? So therefore, the whole thing is a mekach ta'ut. The rabbis also argue that the husband has a personality disorder which existed prior to the marriage but was not disclosed to her, rendering the whole marriage a mekach ta'ut. How do you say that in English? A mistaken agreement that was never valid in the first place. Therefore, she doesn't need a get. Finally, the judges noted that Gorodetsky apparently paid for the wedding ring with her own money, meaning that the marriage never took place because the husband has to pay for the ring. If he doesn't, Kiddushin never took place. If Kiddushin never took place, then this lady doesn't need a get because she was never married. Either A, the husband was a lunatic, and if she would have known when she married him that he's abusive, she never would have agreed that he had this personality disorder. So therefore it's a mekach ta'ut, a mistaken agreement, and therefore she doesn't need a get because she was never married. And number 2, the wedding ring she paid for. So there was no, even though if he was normal, if the husband doesn't pay for the wedding ring, no Kiddushin took place. She paid for it with her own money, that the marriage had never been valid from the get-go, so Rabbi Sperber's court didn't give her a get, because only a hubby can give a get. What did he do? He was oik an annulment. It's called, we'll go into that, we'll see later, the next sources, it's called these Oike de Kedusha Lemafreya. How do you say Mafreya in English? Retroactive. Lemafreya means retroactive. Now, this happened in June. Last week, another case by this same Rabbi Sprecher Bezdin, very respected Talmudist, Talmud Chacham. Another case, and you don't have this on your sheet, but thanks to Yehuda, he showed me in the Jerusalem Post last week. Another case of an Aguna for 9 years. This was an Aguna 23 years. The other lady was only for 9 years, Esau. And what the problem is, the husband doesn't want to give her a get for 9 years. Meanwhile, she got pregnant by another man. Ooh. So the unborn baby is not, could be a mamzer. Because a married woman having relations with another man, husband doesn't want to give her a get. He's also in jail. 1 minute. Unless what?
If the other man isn't Jewish.
Oh, Masha's ahead of me. If the other man is a goy, then the child is not a mamzer. Only if the lover boy is a Jew is the child a mamzer.
What's our assumption?
1 minute. No, the lover boy is a Jew. The lover boy is a Jew, so therefore the unborn baby she didn't give birth yet is a mamzer. If she's not freed lemafreya from the original marriage, the court ruled, annulled the marriage, because one of the Eidim at the marriage was puzzle. We see why. Lemafreya. Because one of the witnesses at the wedding was a convicted pedophile. Sounds like Peyton Place here. One of the Eidim at the wedding, the court found out one of the Eidim is a convicted pedophile at the time of the wedding. That means that he was a Rasha. We know a Rasha posel le'edut. Therefore, no wedding took place. So therefore, the child is not a mamzer. Why is the child not a mamzer that's going to be born? Because she was never married. Why wasn't she married? Because one of the witnesses was a Rasha, a convicted pedophile, I think is a Rasha, a pervert. And in Jewish law, it takes two to tango. You don't need the rabbi and you don't need the caterer. What do you need?
2 witnesses.
Photographer either you don't need. You need two kosher witnesses. And you'll notice, Uriel, at frum weddings, when the 2 witnesses come up, they'll go like this. Oshamnu, Bogadnu, Gozalnu, Dibarnu, Doivi. Notice at the religious wedding, at your wedding, the witnesses have to do vidui. Yeah. Because if they're the shoyim, the whole marriage never took place. Right. So you look at the religious wedding, you see the 2 witnesses on the side are going like this. They're confessing their sins. Otherwise, a rasha posol yedus. So therefore, this Bezdin ruled that not only is the marriage annulled lemafreya, that the baby that's going to be born is not going to be a mamzer because no kiddushin took place. If no kiddushin took place, then you don't need a get. This psak is based, Reb Tzvi, on the Igros Moshe of over 50 years ago. When Moshe was asked a shaila, this lady got married in a reform wedding ceremony by the reformer. The Reform don't believe in Gittin. For some, they believe in Kiddushim and not in Gittin. So she got married in a Reform ceremony, and then she got a civil get, because they don't believe in Gittin, and then she married another man and had a child. Is the child a mamzer?
According to who? None of the witnesses.
Is the child a mamzer?
No.
Reb Moshe Paskin that the child is not a mamzer. Why? She's a married woman with no get. She's not a married woman, said Rabbi Moshe. Because the reform ceremony doesn't count. Because they're all Rishoyim. Right? The witnesses are deformed. They're a Rasha Posel Yedus. So this lady thought that she's married, but halachically she's not married, says the great Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. So if she's not married, she doesn't need a get. And therefore, the child born with the other man is what? Not a mamzer. Based on this psak, Rav Sprecher, not Rabbi Sprecher, Rabbi Sprecher said that this lady, a mother, annulled the marriage because it never took place because Rasha Posel Edus, and therefore the baby that she's going to have is not going to be a mamzer. Is not going to be a mamzer. Yes?
Isn't there a halacha that if you live with somebody, it's like a marriage?
No, you see, Zisel, it has to be Hareyat mukudeshes li bebiyazu. And 2 kosher witnesses have to see it. There are 3 ways you can get married. Kesef, shtar, or bia. But in all 3 cases, there has to be witnesses, kosher witnesses. All right? Not to the sex act, but he takes her into Motel 6, and he says, Hareyat mukudeshes li bebiyazu, and they wait outside. But the witnesses have to be what? Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Otherwise, it's just an act of casual sex, even though they think not. That's Moshe's whole point. So even though they thought that they're married in the Reform ceremony, but since the witnesses were what? Pasul, so therefore they were really never married. So therefore this lady doesn't need a get. When she married somebody else, she was never married to the first guy, halachically, and therefore the child born, Reb Moshe Paskind, is what? Is not a mamzer. Is not a mamzer, and based on this sack, this lady was freed. This other lady was freed after 9 years, not after 23 years. And Baruch Hashem, her unborn baby is not going to be a mamzer. Because who decides halacha? Da mala mala mimcha. Reb Chaim Volozhin. Da mala mala mimcha. If you want to know what the halacha is mamala, what's the answer? Mimcha. We decide halacha. Okay, so this lady, I don't know why the chief rabbinate is so against it. I don't know why. But you'll see soon, the chief rabbinate, I think they forgot a Rambam. When it comes to releasing an Aguna, Uriel, please release me, let me go. I think the chief rabbinate forgot the Rambam on page 1. When it comes to releasing an Aguna, you have to be very lenient. Who said so? Not Rabbi Sprecher. The Holy Rambam. Side number one. Rabbi,
let me ask you a question.
Halacha tet, yes?
So, in the first case, for 23 years,
right.
So what's the status of those 4 children now, that she wasn't married?
So what? The children are fine. What's the problem? You have relations outside of marriage with a single woman. It's a sin, but the kids are not mamzerim. Mamzer is only when you're having relations with a married woman, or incest. But having relations with a single woman, even though it's a sin, but the children are 100% kosher children.
And there's several other bastards, but we don't talk about.
Well, you talk chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. Well, who cares? Halachically, the children are doesn't mean nothing. 100% halachically kosher. The children are 100% halachically kosher. A mamza is only if you're with a married woman or an incest. A brother and a sister, then it's or a married woman. Otherwise, the children are 100% kosher.
Rabbi,
So this, yes.
I once heard that if somebody says Harei Makadesh Li to a girl,
If there are no witnesses, Masha, nothing took place. No. Aren't you glad you came today?
Yes.
Aren't you glad? Al pishnai maidim yokim davar. Right? You can have the rabbi, you can have the caterer, the photographer, and the florist. But if you ain't got 2 kosher witnesses, nothing happened. It's all make-believe.
Why was it? We were always told.
It's a good thing you came today.
Bad
Now, when it comes to a releasing an Aguna, says the Rambam, before Rabbi Sprecher, in the year 1169, you have to look for leniencies. Hello? Look at sheet number 1, Uriel. Halacha test. You see the Rambam? I think it's underlined in yellow. This is Rambam Laws of Gershon. Halacha test. Al yikshe b'yanecha. Shetiru chachamim ha'erva chamura be'edus isha. Normally, you need 2 witnesses, right, to establish anything. But when it comes to releasing a woman, erva chamura is be'edus isha. A woman can come and testify that what she saw the husband is dead, and that she's free. Oy evet, oy shivcha, oy goy. Even a goy, a mesach timoy. Normally you accept a non-Jew's testimony? No, but when it comes to releasing an aguna, the Rambam Halacha Test says you believe a single witness, a woman, a slave, a female slave, even a guy who tells a story, aid mipi aid, Yiddish. What about 2 witnesses? Not when it comes to release an aguna. But the Rambam says, well, it's very difficult. Why should you do that? What? Why is the halacha so lenient? Why? So look at the punchline. Underlined in yellow, I think. El kidei what? The last line in Rambam Uriel. It's underlined in yellow. Why do the rabbis believe even a single witness to say that the husband is dead? Even the wife can testify. Even a non-Jew that he saw Mr. Goldberger croak or drown, and now the woman is free. When do you believe a non-Jew? And when do you believe an Evet or a woman? When it comes to releasing an Aguna, why? Reb Tzvi, why? What does the Rambam say? Kidei? No? Shaloi tisharna b'nois Yisrael agunot. Not to allow Jewish women to remain what? Chained. Yiddish Uriel? So the chief rabbinate, I think, forgot this Rambam. Kidei shaloi tisharna b'nois Yisrael agunot. Not to allow Jewish women to remain chained, the rabbis went with the most lenient, flexible halacha to release this poor woman. Incredible Rambam over here. Yiddish? It's unbelievable. People don't know this Rambam. It says it's difficult how the rabbis could allow it. But they allowed it kidei. You have it, Uriel? Kidei shaloi tishana. Please show it to your kala. Look how halacha is so sensitive. Kidei shaloi tisharna b'nois Yisrael aguna is not to allow Jewish women to remain what? Agunot. So the rabbis came up with all of these what? Leniencies. And our job is to what, Cecil? To utilize them.
He's dead.
What?
He's dead.
You believe her?
Yeah, but he's
Maybe he's not dead. But the point I'm making is that when it comes to an Aguna, the Chachamim always found leniencies. Now look how far this goes. If you turn to side number 2. See? Side number 2. Side number 2. Look at side number 2, footnote 11. The Rambam's solution to the Guna problem. I think it's underlined in yellow, isn't it? Number 11, number 11. Rambam writing the year 1169, Hilchas Gershon. Okay, following me, Elishama? 11, Rambam. Footnote 11. Mi shehadin noten, shekoifen oisel agorish ishtoi. Once Bezdin decided, now normally a man has to divorce his wife for free will. He can't be coerced. But if Bezdin decides that this guy is a maniac or a lunatic or a pervert, and Bezdin decides that what? That he must be forced to give her a get, and he refuses. Listen to this. Misha din noten shekoifen oisai legarish es ishtoi. Bezdin decided that this marriage can't work. The woman is being tortured mentally or physically. He must divorce his wife. V'lo yirotze legarish. Uriel, you following me? So, and he refuses to legarish. Bezdin shel Yisrael b'chol makom and b'chol zman. Any Bezdin in Israel, all places at all times, makin also. They beat him up, makin also. They give him makis. Until he says what? I want to divorce her. He doesn't want to divorce her, but you beat him until he says I want to divorce her. What, are you playing games here? He really doesn't want to.
Can this be retroactive for
1 minute. Gittin can only work if the hubby gives it free will. If he refuses, they beat him until he says, yes, I really want to give it. And we know he's lying.
I like it.
He doesn't want his broken bones. The yichtov haget. V'hu get, what's the next word? V'hu get? Kosher. It's a kosher get.
The sack would do that.
1 minute. Who get kosher? Why is it a kosher get? V'cheinim hu kul goyim. Let's say non-Jews beat him up. V'amr lo asay ma Yisrael amrin loch. Do what the Jewish court tells you. V'lachatz oisay Yisrael b'yad goyim. And the Jewish court hands him over to the goyim. Who are the goyim? Carlo Gambino. Da 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 da. Or John Gotti. That's what it says here. The Jewish court gives his contract to Goyim, right? Bugsy Siegel, right? Or Carlo Gambino, Don Corleone, right? And they say, you better divorce your wife. We'll make you an offer that you cannot refuse. Hareze get? Hareze get? Kosher. Say what, Uriel? This is my mom that he's writing. Hareze get kosher. It's a kosher get.
So how long?
Why?
Rabbi,
1 minute.
What if the reason he won't give her a get is he wants money?
Arezeh kosher. Why is it a let me just go through a double talk. So if you give the contract to Don Corleone, it's a kosher, and they beat him up, and he gives a get, it's kosher. Very bizarre. Vim hagoyim ha'atzman asul. Let's say the goyim do it on their own without being what?
Yeah.
Asked by the Jewish court. Atzikos of hoyel vadin noisen shichtav harezeh get puzzle. So if the goyim do it on their own, it's a get puzzle. It doesn't count. She's still married. If they do it because the Jewish court, asked them or paid them off to do it, then it's a get kosher. V'lama, I think it's in bold type. V'lama loy batal get zeh. The Rambam asked himself, what am I playing games here? Why is the get not canceled? Harei onus. He is being forced to give the get. Bein biyad goyim, bein biyad Yisrael. I think there's 3 question marks there. No, you know 3? 2 question marks, exclamation point. So why does it count? Why is it a good get? She'ein omer manus. Oh, he says, Ein omer manus. When do we say he's forced? El lemish nilchatz v'nitchak lasois dover she'ein chayv min haTorah lasoisai. Someone beats you up to sell something you don't want to sell. Is the sale valid? No. But someone who's Yetzer Hara grabs hold of him to cancel a mitzvah, or lasos avera, or do a sin. If Bezdin gave him a command to divorce his wife, so for him it's a mitzvah to divorce his wife. And if he refuses, he is what?
Beat him
A
up.
rasha. Behuka at she'asa dover chayv asoisai. So Bezdin can beat him up or hand over his contract to John Gotti to beat him until he does what he has to do. That's not called force. You see my finger pointing there. 1 minute.
That's what the
Elahu. He forced himself to be a Rasha. Lefikach, therefore, you see that, Ariel? Mi she'einoi roitze legarish. When someone refuses to divorce his wife, and Bezdin says you must divorce her, and he refuses, he's a rasha. Because Deuteronomy 17:11 says you must listen to the rabbis, don't turn away from them. And he's turning away from them, he's an evil person. And we know a Jew deep down wants to do the will of Hashem. Because every Jew is a chelik Elohim Yimal, we're all a piece of the rock. Right, so how come he's not doing it? The Yitzvah takfai, but the devil made him do it. So what do? We beat the devil out of him. Literally, Rama said, we beat him until the devil releases him. And when he says, Rotzani, I really want to divorce her, he what? He means it. He doesn't mean it. He means it. His neshama means it. But he doesn't mean it. The devil is holding him back. So we beat the devil out of him. Literally, that's what it comes from. We beat the devil out of him. And when he says, Rotzani, he's doing the will of Hashem, because every Jew deep down, if you dig deep enough, every Jew wants to do the will of Hashem. We're all on the Shema from Hashem. We're all a chelik Elohim Yimal, a godly soul. So therefore, the get works. So according to the Rambam, you would take these guys out of jail and beat the devil out of them until they say right, Sonny. But I don't know why the Bezdin today is too timid, yes, to apply this Rambam, yes?
The real question
Yes?
is, this is a problem since the beginning of time. What have women done to deserve men like we get? That's the question. Why so many perverted, evil? He threw acid in her face. I mean,
He
why
threw acid
are
in
these
her.
men like this?
What?
Why have women deserved?
Because men have been
So
brought
many
up to
men-
think that women are their property, Nebuch. They're brainwashed.
But he didn't pay for
It's the
ring.
truth.
I don't understand.
You didn't pay for the ring, so the whole wedding never took place from the get-go. If you didn't pay for the ring,
how
the whole
do-
wedding never took place,
How
right?
do we correct this today? How are men ever going to think that we're not their property? They can't just.
But
do
you
what
see,
they want
things
to
are
us?
changing. With this Rabbi Sperber's Bezdin, she says, listen, if I would know that the guy is such a pervert, abusive, foul, low-life bum, I never would have married him.
Well,
So the whole
then
marriage is mekach ta'ut.
But look at
Now
all-
where does this come from? Retzvi. Mekach Ta'ut comes from Maramba Rottenberg. You don't have it on your sheets. You gotta believe me. The Maramba Rottenberg, the Rebbe of the Rosh. Oh, you need bigger than that. The Maramba Rottenberg. To rescue an Aguna, he invoked the concept of Mekach Ta'ut, a marriage under false pretenses in the year 1200 and something.
Oh, I believe it.
Had the wife known that her husband was so cruel, she never would have married him in the first place.
There you have
Therefore, says the Maramba Rottenberg, before Rabbi Sprecher in the year 1200 and something, the act of Kiddushin is annulled lemafreya. How do you say lemafreya in English? Retroactively, using the concept of Hefker, Bezdin, Hefker. Hefker, Bezdin, Hefker. What Bezdin declares null and void is null and void. And the Maram also says, Kol ha-mekadesh al date de Rabbanan mekadesh. Everyone who contracts a Jewish marriage does so with the consent and agreement of the rabbis. The rabbis wouldn't agree that this woman should be changed to this lunatic. The Marsha, you need bigger than him? The Marsha,
Okay.
writing in Poland in 1534, at the end of Masechta Yevamot, quote, to free an Aguna, our rabbis invoked many far-reaching leniencies. The great Marsha, at the end of Masechta Yevamot, you can look it up, quote, to free an Aguna, our rabbis invoked many far-reaching leniencies. And the Marsha concludes, God, listen to this. This is the end of Masechta Yevamos. Marsha concludes, I think you can't get more Haredi than him. God must grant courage to rabbinical judges so that trapped and captive suffering women will be blessed with peace and domestic tranquility. This is the Marsha writing in 1534. The end of Masechta Yevamos. God must grant courage to rabbinical judges, Yehuda, so that trapped and captive suffering wives will be blessed with peace and domestic tranquility.
Absolutely.
If only our current rabbis had the moral courage and Torah wisdom, the Holy Marsha. But Rabbi Sprecher, bless him and his court, they are finally utilizing all of the halakhic rabbinic tools that were available since the Middle Ages. Why are they there for? Why are they there for? Let's go back to source. It's sheet number 2. Sheet number 2. It's source number 9 on top. The Rambam here speaks about will Mashiach enforce religious coercion. See that? Side number 2. The first source, Yehuda, I think it's number 9, right? Will Mashiach enforce religious coercion? Number 9 on top. Rambam Hilchas Malachim. V'im yamod melech mi beis David. If a king will arise from the house of David, Hogeh b'Torah, v'osik b'mitzvot ki David aviv. Yiddish, someone will arise from the house of David, who is a great Torah scholar, is meticulous in mitzvahs like his grandfather David. Kifi Torah shebiksav, the Torah shebapeh. Look at the next word, Yehuda. I think it's underlined, no?
Yeah.
The Yaakov, call Yisrael leilach bo. What does that mean? Force. I think it's called religious coercion. But Yaakov, call Yisrael leilach bo, ulechazik bitka, and he will force all the Jews to observe the Torah. V'yalachem lachemes Hashem. He won't play footsie with Abu Mamzer. V'yalachem lachemes Hashem, and he will fight Hashem's war, finally destroy our enemy. But first he forces the Jewish people to observe the Torah. Hareze becheskas shehu Mashiach. You hear this? What does chazak mean in English? Presumption. You see the arrow there, no? Im osav atzliach. If he what? Success. He forces the Jews to become religious. He's successful, and he fights Hashem's wars. Ubana beis hamikdash b'mkomo, and he builds what? The temple in its place. That's still not enough. V'kibetz nitcha Yisrael, and he gets the Jews from Lakewood and Borough Park to come back to Israel. Harezeh Mashiach b'vadai. If he builds a temple and fights God's wars, that's not proof that he's Mashiach. What's proof? The Kibetz Nitche Yisrael. He can get all the Jews from what? From Lakewood. and Crown Heights to come back to Pisgat Zev, Hareze Moshiach Bavadai. Then, if he can get the Jews, what? Out of Teaneck, it's easier to get Teaneck out of the Jews than the Jews out of Teaneck, or what? Then you know Moshiach Bavadai, Shirley. Even from Avenue U, what? You can get the Jews out of Hareze Moshiach Bavadai. Shirley and I come from Avenue U. V'yitaken es ha'olam kuloi lavot et Hashem biyachad. And Mashiach will fix the world that everyone should serve Hashem biyachad. What does biyachad mean? Together. Together. Shenemar ki oz, then. The Navi says, Efoch el amim safa barura, then I will turn over to all the nations a clear language. Likwe kulam b'shem Hashem. All of them will what? Will what? Call name of God. Before that, it can't happen, Yehuda. Only when Mashiach comes. Likrei kulam b'shem Hashem. L'avdo shchem echad. To serve what? What does shchem mean? Shchem in Hebrew means a shoulder. Will stand as one to serve the one God. But we have to wait for Mashiach to what? To do that. But it looks like the Rambam is speaking that there will be religious coercion. That Mashiach will force the Jewish people to what? To become dati. Now, how will he force them? How do you think he'll force them?
Kill the Yetzer Hara.
Kill the Yetzer Hara. Kill the Yetzer Hara, right?
Yeah.
The Pasha of yesterday, we read the Shema. It says, you shall love Hashem your God b'chol levavcha. Love Hashem your God with all of your hearts. So Rashi wonders, the last time Rashi took a chest x-ray, there was only one heart. How come it says, love Hashem b'chol levavcha? Should have said b'chol libcha. B'chol libcha. Rashi knew Ulpan 103. It says, love God with your heart. So Rashi said, b'shnei yitzrecha. You have to love God with your Yetzer Tov and your Yetzer Hara as well. So even though only one heart shows up in the x-ray machine, but there's another heart beating there, it's called the evil inclination.
Yeah.
So you have to serve God with your Yetzer Tov, with your good impulse, and also serve God with your evil inclination as well. Now, how do you do that? How do you serve God with evil inclination?
Override it.
What?
Override it.
Or deputize him? Or channel him? Who's working for whom?
That's right.
If you wouldn't have an evil inclination, nobody will get married and make babies. It's expensive to have babies. Right? Who would get married and have babies without the evil inclination, right?
Right.
So without him, there'll be no world. You got to deputize him, channel him, control him, and he's working for you, not you're working for him. Yes.
One thing I read recently is if you are cruel to a wicked person, that is definitely serving God with your evil inclination.
If you're cruel
to a
wicked person. Oh, Chava. Why did God give us cruelty? To be cruel to Abu Mamzer. That's right, Chava.
But it's not easy if it's not in your name.
What? You have to be cruel to the wicked. Let them run all of us and keep sending these kite bombs
I know.
and terrorizing. Last week, a kite bomb landed in a kindergarten in Gaza. A kindergarten, a kite bomb. And what did the IDF do? Nothing.
See, because
They have Rahmanis on these wicked people.
Yeah, really.
They have Rahmanis on these wicked. Doesn't make any sense. Now, the Lubavitcher Rebbe said something incredible. Who's the Lubavitcher Chosed here? Anybody?
My brother was. My nephew is the Chabad rabbi.
Can you tell your nephew this?
In Rechovo.
He'll be proud of you.
What did the Rebbe say?
He said as followed. In Hebrew, when there's one word with two different meanings, there has to be a strong kesher. How do you say evil in Hebrew? Ra. Reish ayin. How do you say friend in Hebrew? Reya. Reish ayin. It's ask any old pond teacher. I'm making this up. The word for evil and the word for friend is the same word. Ra. There are no dots in the scroll. Ra means evil. Zisl Reya means friend. Said Lubavitch Rebbe, isn't it bizarre that the same word for evil is the same word for friend? No. Said the great Rebbe, the tafkid of a Jew is to take the evil one and make him your friend. That's Judy, the great Lubavitch Rebbe.
That's how my brother lived his life.
I think you'll like that. Your nephew will like it. Can you write it down? Why the word for evil, ra, is the same word as reya, friend? Says the great Lubavitch Rebbe, that's the tafkid of a Jew. It's no trick to serve God with your goody two-shoes. That's not a trick to serve God with Yetzer Tov. You're naturally good. To serve God with your evil side. Make him your friend. That's Yahadut. Take your evil impulse and channel him. Deputize him and make him your friend. Person has a desire to have relations, sexual relations, right? Let him make a lot of babies with his wife. Person has desire for kavod. He likes kavod. So he gives a nice donation to the Asper Yeshiva, and we give him a big plaque in the Beis Medrash, right? Any evil impulse you have can be channeled, elevated, and deputized to serve Hashem. Like Chava, cruelty. You have to be cruel to Abu Mamzer. Because the more kindness you show him, the more he'll terrorize you. Hello? Chava, that's why you have to be cruel. You have to use cruelty to destroy Abu Mamzer. We show him kindness, and he terrorizes us more. He sees that we're weak.
That's what they understand.
Yeah.
So Baruch Hashem, things are changing, Yehuda. We have this Rabbi Sperber's court, and there'll be other courts like that to free these hundreds of captive women that are abused, and the rabbis can find a loophole that if she knew that he'd be so cruel and vicious and abusive to her, she never would have agreed to the wedding. And the Marama Rottenberg, the Rebbe of the Rosh already, writing in 1200, utilizes this heter of Mekach To'ut, and Hefker Bezdin Hefker, and Kol HaMekadesh Al Dat Rabbanan Mekadesh. Anyone who gets married does so with the consent of the rabbis. And the rabbis would never agree, knowing that this guy was such a lunatic, a cruel person, they wouldn't agree to the marriage. You say, Harayat Mukadeshes Li Kedat Moshe the Yisrael. That the Bezdin has to agree. Moshe's Bezdin has to agree. So Bezdin said, there's a story of the Noide Yehuda. You heard of him?
No.
Of Cheskel Landau. Yehuda's going to Prague. Yehuda, you have to go to his shul, please. Tell this to Miriam Milana. She'll give you a kiss. The Noide Yehuda, the great Rebbe of Prague in 1796, Rabbi Yosef. To get emotional, you'll excuse me. Cheskel Landau, the great tzaddik of Prague in 1790s. There was a case. A woman was in Aguna for many years. The husband disappeared. He went on a business trip and never came back. So, after years, Rav Cheskel Landau, Prague, Yehuda, convened the Bezdin and said that we paskin that your husband is dead and you can get married. Cheskel Landau's Bezdin?
How many years was this?
This is 1790s.
No, I mean, how many years was it?
The husband was gone for a year. I don't know how many years, for a while. So he never came back. So Cheskel Landau's Bezdin decided that he must be dead. And therefore she is what? An almana. And she got married. A short while after, what happens? He shows up. He shows up.
So what do you do to the rabbis?
So Cheskel Landau said to him, you're sitting down? You're dead. Get the heck out of here. You're dead. And if you're not dead, you're a demon. It's a true story. If you're not, you're dead. And if you're not dead, you must be a demon. Get the heck out of town. And don't you show your face here again. If my Bezdin ruled that you're dead, you have to be dead.
I like it.
Cheskel Landau. Where's he coming from? There's a book called, written by Rav Yosef Cairo. It's called the Magid Meshorim. You can even buy it in English. I don't know. It's a diary of every Friday night for 40 years. A malach came and learned Kabbalah of Rav Yosef Cairo, the Mechaber of the Shulchan Aruch.
A malach.
A malach learned with him Friday night. And Shabbos night, he would write it down. The book is called Magid Meshorim. It's been translated into English. I don't know if it's still...
What's the title?
It's called Magid Meshorim.
Oh,
In English, it's called Magid Meshorim. The sayings of the righteous. This is a diary that Rav Yosef Cairo kept for 40 years. With the Malach learning, Friday night he couldn't write, but Shabbat, he had a good memory. Shabbat, he wrote it down. In one of them, listen to this, incredible. There's big machlokes between him and the Ramah. They argued, the Ramah. What happened? A lady in his town, he lived in Tzfat, right? Her husband ran away and never heard from him again. So she went to him repeatedly asking what?
The divorce.
Not a divorce, to be released. The husband, he said, sorry lady, the facts, no, the husband is not dead. He still might come back. He still might, I cannot release you. So he kept stringing her along. This is in the Magid Misharim. She didn't like that. So Yehuda, in the 1500s, to take a boat from Tzfat to Europe, how long did it take?
Forever.
She took a boat from Tzfat to Europe, and she went to see whom? The Ramah in Krakow. She went to see the Ramah in Krakow, and she presented the case to him. My husband ran away years ago, haven't heard from him. The Ramah's Bezdin sat down and paskined what? That he's dead. That he's dead, and therefore what? She can marry. The Malach comes to him next Friday night. What does he ask him, Rabbi Yosef? Who's right? Am I right or is the Ramah right? So the Malach said to him, you are right by not releasing her. The husband was alive. But once the Ramah paskin that what? That she's an almana. Right before the chuppah, he dropped dead. The Maggid said, you were right. But the holy Ramah paskin that she's an almana. So right before the chuppah, is God going to allow a married woman to marry another man? So God gave him a heart attack 10 minutes before the chuppah. This is the Malach talking to the Beis Yosef. You were taka right. The husband was alive. But once the Ramah paskin that she's a widow, God made her a widow. Took him out. So you see how halacha...
Rabbis can control things.
Rabbis could create a new reality.
No, that's...
Rabbis control a new reality. Halacha. Da ma'ala mimcha. Mishnah Nova. So you want to know what halacha is upstairs mimcha. Once the Ramah ruled that she's a widow, even though she wasn't, God made her a widow. Says the Malach. God had to give him a heart attack because the Ramah paskin that she's a widow, so it created a reality that she's a widow even though she wasn't. This is written in the Magid Misharim. I think it's translated in English. I saw it in English, but this is one of the episodes that he writes in. Imagine having a pipeline to Shemayim, the Magid Misharim. Yes?
Can't they change the
The problem
law?
is,
What?
we are living today, where we don't have that kind of rabbi.
But we do, Rabbi Sprecher.
Yeah, we
There
don't
are...
have them. We don't really have them today.
Well, hopefully
That's
this
the
will
way
set a
to-
precedent, Reb Tzvi. Rabbi Sperber's Bezdin will set a precedent, hopefully, and things are changing ever so slowly. Thursday we have a class on current events in the Haftorah. Thank you very much.